to the lag. This is what we're testing today. Wasn't able to make it to the Apple store yesterday, so I couldn't upgrade all of my my equipment. So today we're experimenting with different settings. All right, morning, no lag. Perfect. I did do ultra low latency, so we shall see. You can see the seconds here. So it should be much better. 4 seconds. Okay, that's not bad. Okay, so welcome everyone. I see we got Omar, Carlos, everyone from the Tradetopia community. Guys, we're about to hit 1,200 people in the community. Still less than a month since we've officially launched, so pretty cool. Pretty cool to see. You guys are going crazy. The wins in there are nuts. Yesterday's NASDAQ setup was epic. Yeah, it went really well. We added on some funding yesterday. Good to have everyone here. The gold setup that we talked about yesterday, if you're looking at the gold futures with the current contract, didn't quite get to my zone up here, so it didn't trigger me in. I know some of you were on CFDs, and I think you guys took your trade and played out. So depending on your broker, depending on your data feed, you may or may not have taken this. I think if you were looking at things on the CFD side, maybe you triggered you took the position. But I am not. I did not. So here we go. Now I have all of this set up here. I've kind of organized my watch list a bit more. So I got majors, metals. You can add these little categories here, however you feel like. But if you did take this yesterday, from this zone over in this area, it looks like it played out pretty decent so far. But yeah, I was looking at my futures chart, so I was chilling. This is without the contract rolling over, and then with the rollover here, or not the rollover, but just being in a present contract. This is what the market looks like. So unfortunately, it did mitigate already, so I wouldn't force myself to take any new trades not based out of the past. Now, if we're looking at the market and we're looking at a totally different perspective, then that's a different story, right? If we're looking at this and we're thinking, okay, we have this sweep of the high and then we're working our way down, can we see a rejection out of this zone? And let me take off these. If you guys ever see these like session lines that pop up and you want to take them off, then you'll see this right here. You can just right click the background symbol, and then electronic trading hours background. It always does this and it just doesn't save it. I literally have updated this a million times and it just refuses to do that. But if you see that, that is why. Now, as we're looking at the market here, for me, this already did its thing. So we've already seen the mitigation from this zone. We cleared liquidity and then worked our way down. I want to add that we're not quite... I didn't get triggered in. It just comes and goes. Michael, what comes and goes? 5-second lag? So maybe we see a sell from here. Right now, technically, we're pretty bullish. So I think I would rather just kind of keep taking the buys since overall we got the higher time frame mitigation. But this is a really small movement, and I wouldn't say we've shifted momentum fully yet. Oh, yeah. Got it. So this is the one that really makes sense to me. We saw a nice sweep of Friday's London session lows and then we come back into the previous London session. So I feel like we can get a pretty good play out of here. So for gold, I think we could get a buy right in this zone and carry on with momentum. Since we're still on higher time frames, bullish. So somewhere in here could give us a nice buy setup right there. So that's all I have set for gold. But let's look at some indices, you know. And what's up, DeAndre, Omar, Friso, PJ, Sumitra, Edwin? Guys, go ahead. Remember, obviously, sessions are free. They're not monetized. So for your viewing and trading experience, make sure that we have the least amount of resistance possible for you guys to crush it here. Feel free to invite anyone to the stream. And yesterday we almost had 1,000 people on throughout the session, which was sick. And also a good session to be on. We had insane NQ buys. And I know if you guys look at the school community, the Tradetopia community, you guys will see all of those wins just going crazy in there. So pretty dope to see. Let's see if we get another dose of that today. So what's up, Sen? Dami, Leon. Got the beautiful Nancy in here. Janeth, Dolce, Machiavelli in here. Linda, Kaz plugged in. What's up? Good morning. Gabriel, we got Puerto Rico in here. ¿Dónde está toda mi gente por aquí? Adrián, preguntas, Mike, ¿en qué página usas para entrar en el mercado? ¿Como que broker? ¿O que como compañía de fondeo? Va a depender de dónde vives. Por ejemplo, yo tengo cuentas personales, tengo cuentas con TopStep, tengo cuentas con Apex, tengo cuentas como con Forex.com, tengo cuentas con DarwinX, pero tiene que ver contigo y dónde estás, en qué país estás. Es por diferentes regulaciones, diferentes accesos. Okay. Also, is the stream just rolling smoothly? I want to make sure there's no disconnection or anything. What's up, Steven? Lindsay. Session time. Okay. What up, cousin Hector? What's good, bro? No, I'm going to go over Dow right now. Everything's fine. All smooth. Holding 3 seconds. Okay. So indices, we also got the nice sell from Dow. Futures was a little annoying, and I'll go over this one. We had the big sweep. We didn't have 15-minute lower lows. We had 5-minute lower lows on structure, but we didn't break these lows and maintain them. So I definitely understand why you wouldn't take this. The reason I ended up making a play on this was because of the divergence. So when we looked at NASDAQ over here, NASDAQ, as soon as NASDAQ cleared it was clearing all of these highs and got above this into this imbalance. So right there, this is where I'm looking at this and going, wow, NQ has cleared all of this liquidity. Meanwhile, Dow is still within this zone. So it's kind of a slower move up. So I could understand the sell from this area. That was the big reason I was looking at potentially selling in here. On CFDs, it was a better opportunity because you can actually hold a swap. For futures, prop firms, that's not going to play out. But if you're just trading futures, then this is fine on your personal. So it's rolling smoothly at the moment. Now, zooming in a little more, we have to understand, or let's zoom out first. We're getting interesting price action still with, we're still getting very interesting price action with indices because what we're noticing is the following. The market is struggling to sustain below 42,000 we see that there's very little demand every time it gets into this zone. It's also struggling to maintain demand above 42,300. So it comes and goes over and over and over again. You look at NQ, similar. It finally broke above, but just to lose that momentum and come back down up until these last couple hours here with London session. So overall, yes, we are trading more bullish lately, right? We're kind of holding these zones a bit better. So I want to see today what this is going to look like. And there's a couple big things, and we can start with kind of the outside zones. So on the 1 hour, I think there is a shot that we can still get down where we saw this massive sell-off and imbalance down here. So whether it's Dow Jones, whether it's NASDAQ all the way down over here, these are extreme zones that we could still get into. We have all the on the up on this on the high as well. Have that sweep of the high before it just melts away. So there's both sides to this. And then S&P 500. So we see the price make higher highs briefly before the demand is proven to not really exist here. Comes back down. Now we're up again. So we're kind of seeing that, okay, yeah, we kind of have this bullish vibe. S&P over here has a couple key levels it can still play off of. So we'll see if this is going to be temporary or this is going to be kind of what these highs look like. But that's the higher time frames. Okay, in the meantime, it's going back to Dow Jones. Temporales mayores, chicos, tenemos estas áreas en las áreas extremas. But in the meantime, there's kind of this range within the week so far. We made weekly lows already yesterday during New York session with Dow. And then we got above the weekly open as well. And now we came back down. So within this range, there's some action over here. And what we see is, take a look at this over here. What we see is this. We see a nice sweep of the low right here. The market just absolutely flies. And so yesterday's news event, when we had this spike down with Dow, and we had divergence with NQ, because NQ then flew into where the mitigation zone and below New York Open. So this was sniped. I held this. With this one here is where I passed my the 20 accounts. And then on my personal and my top step, I held NQ a bit longer, a little bit past. Once Dow swept liquidity, remember I broke it down step by step. I said once Dow steps into liquidity, flips the liquidity here, this is where I was going to look to take my profits on NQ. So once it did that, right around here is where I took my exit. I think it was like right around here or something. It was either there or there. And then, so this is how I went around and played out NQ. So right now, we're going to notice a few things. So you guys are going to notice this. So NQ's been pushing nicely to the upside. And we have a couple key levels. So first, we're going to go through Dow. Right? Dow has the move to the downside and then the continuation. From here, we can see that somewhere in here, there is a sell-off before the market rallies. So let's go investigate what it looks like in this zone so we can get more precision in here. So in here, right, we're still 12 minutes out from New York Open. And so right there, we have the 9 a.m. USD news. Boom. Market just melts, sweeps these lows, quickly comes back and continues. So there's definitely an open like massive open sell positions open here, drive price down before the market rips red over here. Okay, so we are now, we could see the market eventually look for the zone over here. Okay, so this is now a new target for Dow Jones. Okay, so you guys can go ahead and mark this up. Market unfolds. We see the crossover into a new trading day. Here the market opens. Asian session has a little momentum kick in, pumps the market higher, takes out a little bit of liquidity and imbalance, and then immediately drops and keeps working downwards. We've currently just got to this candle right now. NQ a bit more bullish, and S&P 500 also a bit more bullish. So the question now is, could we see Dow want to reject this big move right here? Could we see a sell with Dow Jones? Had the big move up. The market trades below here during Asian. This is the Asian session high. So builds up during Asian session here. London session makes its lows down here. So there's a very good chance we at some point see this London session lows get cleared out. And now we're trading up here. So could we see a sell-off? Start at 9, but Wall Street does at 9:30. I'm at 9 Central. We have a news event at 9 here. Central. 9 a.m. Central. Yeah, New York Open is in 9 minutes. So we might see a sell from here. And I will add that we currently have Dow lagging behind the rest of these other setups. So of everything setting up here right now, Dow is the one that's kind of best positioned. To hold the short. So it's not a bad trade, in my opinion, to have a short right around here. So if you wanted to open up your stop, I totally would understand it as well. So yeah, I mean, it's not. This is an intraday small time frame trade. I think that there are better trades as well, but it's not a terrible trade to take something from right around these areas, and you're looking for a nice little short out of here. I see other buys as well. Out of the zone. So let's see here. Let me make sure got the right thing set up. Okay, we're good over there. Let's open up a new order over here. All right. All right, so I took a short here.
Order filled.
Cool.
Order submitted. Order filled. Order
All right, so
filled.
I'm in a short. This was, again, you can see the 5-minute push to the upside. I have my stop a little bit higher as well. So if you guys want to see what we got going on here, let me show you guys real quick. Where is this thing? There we go. So I took some light risk on this setup personally. So you guys should be able to see. Here we go. So I took a short just so you guys kind of see what we got going on over here. Right there. So that's what I just took. The exit here I'll modify in a bit. But just so you guys obviously can see, we're taking the trades together. And that's just the top step account. And then I have my stop. I give myself a little bit more just in case. You know, you never know with these indices. They can sometimes wick a little bit and then make the move. So I gave myself a little bit there. And then from here, if you just compare this, you know, NASDAQ is still bullish, still pushing way higher. And so it makes the most sense to be in the short with YM versus NQ, in my opinion. So, yeah, that's what we got set up at the moment. Okay. And with YM, right, so seeing this play out, the move to the upside, right, this move was 93 points. So if we see a nice little drop here, you know, those 90 points or so, this would be classified as a mitigation, and then we're good to go there. So we'll kind of see how this one unfolds. Okay, so we have it play out of here. Now the other one, and I know you see a big sell-off right there that gets into liquidity on Dow Jones. The question is, what about NQ? Does NQ also make this big sell-off? Which it does. And then it makes another dip down right there. So I'm looking at NASDAQ, and it looks like liquidity here. We have these London session lows that are like borderline liquidity as well. So, I mean, I don't love really any buys inside of this range. I think what we really want to look for is maybe the play out of this New York Open or out of this 9 a.m. News event movement. So we'll see how the market drops down. If it makes sense, then, you know, we might have a continuation. And if it slowly drops with NQ all the way down to here, then we may have a buy position right over here. So let's pull that up real quick. This is a bar replay tool. And this is where the news event comes in. Here's where we get the big drop. So from right here, right, we see a huge move. Okay. And this is where we're at now. So I think, and yesterday we already got this filled. So here we have that. Okay. So, yeah, I think with NQ, we could be setting up over here as well. And that leaves us to S&P 500. S&P, same thing. The London session lows basically create liquidity from New York. So getting below London, trading into these ranges, I think is going to be a pretty likely shot. And then you have same thing here. Have the news event. Price can get into the zone. To make a decision and then just have absolute clarity, for me, it's just the last one that gets to the zone is going to be the buy that I'm more likely to take. So at the moment, we'll see. At the moment, it looks like maybe it's NQ, but we're still relatively far before we really know. We're about a minute away from New York Open. Sometimes we start to get a bit more of that volatility right away. So let's see. Let's see. Right now, I would want the market to drop to basically 42,242 on YM. So with Dow Jones, if you're on CFDs, then that's a little different. It's going to look a little different for you, the prices, but this price action should be very similar. Entonces aquí, chicos, yo estoy en una venta que sería la mitigación de esta jugada aquí. La tendencia en general está alcista, entonces sí hay potencial de que esta pueda perder. Y lo que sí me gusta más son compras debajo de toda esta liquidez de la sesión de Londres, los bajos de la sesión de Londres. Y la compra eventualmente con los índices, quizás con Nasdaq, pero ahorita sí estoy en venta. So let's see, either this clears the highs and whatever, it is what it is. Maybe it works its way down, but either way, I'm ready for any outcome, and I'm at peace with any outcome here. And that's the way we have to go about trading this. Otherwise, if you're just stubborn and you just want what you want, then, and my stop loss is up here, right? It's like right up here. So my stop loss is like this. So my entry was right there. My stop is right up here. Okay, let's see. Let's see how it all comes together. If it comes together. Right now, it's holding up barely within the range. Nasdaq just cleared the highs. Maybe I might just survive this stop. Maybe not. It's getting real close over here. We're getting borderline. So just still hanging on by a thread personally. Let's see if it's game over here soon. I had a feeling too. I was like, I'm not in love with this one, but if there's a shot at it playing out, then that would be cool too. Right now it's about like 10 points out, 5 points out from the stop. Okay, just barely holding on. And the only reason I put my stop a little bit higher today was because I was curious to see if we were going to get NASDAQ to clear liquidity first and then make its move. It kind of looks like that might be the case. Now, NASDAQ is starting to drop more aggressively than Dow specifically. So here, look at this. Wow. NQ, huge move up, massive drop as well. I wonder if we're going to pull back and then drop again, or if this is just going to bleed through. So at the moment, actually NQ kind of looks like it's a better short overall. Look at that. Just absolutely breaking through. And then Dow right now is pretty bullish. So this may be a shakeout trade where the market ends up doing one of these and then working for the high. So this might end up being a play, something like this. Curious if it plays out this way. Right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just do a side-by-side because I do want to see if that is going to be the case. Because if so, I'm down for an NQ short, actually. If it ends up being this way. So I'm going to start to set myself up in case we do get a play like that. Then I'm definitely open to a short. You see how Dow is starting to pull up like that? So, okay. Now for me, see how Dow just broke through? So I took a loss on Dow with that initial setup. But look at NQ. NQ over here, I think NQ pumps up a little bit and then drops. So I want to see it go up a bit more, and then I'm going to take a short on NQ.
Order filled.
So if you get a push to the upside, then I'm going to be looking to take a sell on NQ. So I took my loss on that. No big deal. And then if we get another move to the upside here, yeah, I'm going to like a short there. Especially now that we cleared these moves. So here, let's see. What contracts are we looking at there? All right. So, okay. Now, look at the difference in price action. We saw Dow clear this. I'm sure Dow's going to want to clear these highs as well. But in the meantime, we're seeing a divergence. Look at that. Because now, and NAS has gone above the highs. So clear the highs from yesterday. Filled more of an imbalance. And now that it's cleared out that liquidity from yesterday as well, and London, Asian, everything, we're seeing a shift in momentum overall. We're seeing Dow now start to get a little bit above. I'm sure it'll push even higher. So that's okay. I'll take a small loss here. That's not a big deal. So I can now focus on NQ. So I think NQ coming back up into the zone makes a lot of sense for a setup. So I'll actually walk you guys through how I do this specific example. So let me move my tab. Add tab or move tab to another window. Yeah. All right. So check this out. So when I'm looking at this, so I have it set up so it knows the values of what I need to take here. So for example, if I'm going to do a $400 risk on a trade like this, I already have the values of NQ so that I just need to do 7 contracts here. Set up MNQ right there. And then at a specific price. So let's say, for example, at 21,570. Now it's set there. It's there. And then I have it auto place. As soon as it triggers, it'll auto place a stop as well. At like $1,000, and then I can just tighten it up. Or if you have a sell limit here, you just put a buy stop at these highs. So you can put a buy stop here at like, let's say 21,600. So you can do here, stop market, 21,600. And then you have the, if it hits here now, so it should pop up. I don't know where it is. I think maybe it triggers first and then it sets itself. Oh, there it is. So once it does that, then if it triggers, it's all set. All right. So that's just one way that you can do it. With MNQ, for example, here, I have it set up so it's $2 a contract. All right, $2 a contract for a $400 risk. So that's just how I do it, and then I already have that preset for everything. Okay, and then you know, with my Apex accounts, I can just set limits so that if it gets up into this range, then it's all set. I'm still down for it. I didn't take this position. Maybe some of you took this already. Maybe when you saw it kind of like stall right there, maybe you just took it. I'm a bit more patient with a setup like this. I'm cool if it leads up into this zone now, rather than kind of waiting for it to, like, I don't want to get in too early. So this is can end up creating a mitigation setup for us as well, instead of it being a shakeout, since it's kind of breaking through now. So we can get more confirmation for this one to play out. Here's where we saw the market start to slow down, see some resistance. So I think the market getting back up into this range just kind of makes a lot of sense. And then now we saw Dow clear these highs, get up into this range. So I'm going to go back to one screen. And so, yeah, we've seen some resistance over here, right around 21,560, and some more over here around 21,565. If we go to the 1 minute here, here's where we see, I can actually go to the 15-second, right? We see the market push up, push down. So I think just getting above this zone into this range is fair. Thank you. So yeah, MNQ. I like the entry right around like 565, anywhere from 560 to 570. Bless you. So we're starting to see it come up again. Here we go. Perfect. Starting to see that make its way there. I want it to clear up here and then see the drop.
Order submitted.
All right. We got it here. Let's see, MNQ. All right, almost there. I want it to go like right over here. Just a little bit more. Come on, come on. So for some of you, maybe you're getting triggered in now at 560. I have mine at 565. If you want to open up multiple positions, that's also okay. Look how you're starting to see a little bit of a drop here. When you see something like that, I know you're like, oh shit, should I just get in? Sorry, I'm triggered in now, so I'm active. My setup is here. Let me double check how it's looking like with YM. Okay, we have YM there as well. Did a little pullback as well, and now we have NQ. So NQ pushing up. Let's see if this is going to be the play that I think it's going to be. Obviously, I have my stop. I give myself about 5 points above the high as well. Just a little margin of error, and to include any sort of little wicks that can happen. So we got that set over there, over here. Okay, we got 15. All right. All right, so we are seeing this start to drop a little bit of profit. Nothing crazy, but a little bit of profit so far. It's right around the range. Let's see if this becomes a huge melt. And this was just to lure in buyers one more time. And then we see the market come back down. So that is the trade that I'm taking at the moment. So this is basically the trade is that it lures in enough buyers with a typical break and retest. But right now, that's we're seeing this cleared external liquidity already. It's rebalancing the market, and that we could see this push to clear all of the London session lows and make its way down. So if this does go the way that I'm perceiving it, we would get a very, very good risk reward trade today. So entries were on average around here. Stops are a little tighter than this, like right around there. And then the first target, which is just clearing kind of this this sideways movement, easy targets, the 2R. But the bigger picture targets that would be really nice would be clearing the London session lows at around 21,400, which would put us closer to a 5R. Now, again, I'm not taking any trades to make up for anything. This is just another opportunity, another setup that I'm more than willing to see play out. And that's the mindset, the psychology behind a trade like this. Right now, the market is kind of trading right around entry. So just going to let the market do its thing. Yeah. And that is all. Stops are in place across the board. We have news in 15 minutes. I think this should already be a bit more decisive before then. So I think we would have already seen kind of the either the drop or this just break through some more, and it was what it was. So yeah, we're about to find out. Right now, Dow is holding pretty well. Structure over here, Nas as well is starting to just make his decisions. So I'm curious to see which one has a bit more momentum, whether it's going to be Dow dropping more aggressively or it's going to be NQ dropping a bit more aggressively. It looks like right now we're seeing it kind of chop up and down. Dow slightly more bearish. Okay. It kind of flipped on us. What we originally went with, right, was we kind of started to see NASDAQ make this big drop first, and then NQ comes back over here. And like I mentioned, right, my stop on NQ is a little bit higher than these highs, about 5 points higher. And we're seeing Dow starting to push down and break below, and NQ kind of struggling to see that. So hopefully with this price action, usually that's not the best sign. What we would want to be is with the indice that is aggressively dropping right now. So maybe it's fine, and both are just going to keep going with momentum anyways. Kind of what it looks like it's doing. But you see how NQ is not really dropping a ton right now? And Dow is. If we made the right choice, usually we're in the one that's doing this, not the one that's just moving like this. So today, folks, might be one of those indications where we may have seen price action flip again, where the Dow went and turned into the bear, and NQ may need to just go. It might honestly go higher again before it drops. So honestly, kind of annoying that price action is flipping back and forth so much between NASDAQ and Dow here. Because look at this. Like, Dow is just holding on really well, and it's still bearish. So had we taken Dow, right now we would be in profit, versus how NQ right now is not really doing what we need it to be doing. So honestly, pretty annoying, because overall, it's still, in my opinion, we're still going to see this go bearish. So I'm barely hanging on by a thread right now with NQ. Like, literally, I think it went to like a point or two away. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. I'm barely in this. Maybe we just see Dow absolutely melt, and that just keeps bringing NQ downwards at this point. So by very little. And this is actually why I said I'm going to have my stop open just a bit more, just in case we see what we just saw. And so at the moment, it's moving very interesting. The indices in general, like now we're starting to see NQ drop while Dow is kind of chilling here. So maybe things need to just even out, and there's still a shot that this could play out in our favor. So we'll see. It's very, very, very close though. So what I don't do is I don't go and start to just move my stops more, and you know it can be a very slippery slope if you start to move your stop, because then you're exposing your more and more risk for yourself. You're just kind of creating excuses for yourself. So interestingly enough, now we're seeing Dow go up and we're seeing NQ go down. Interesting. So right now, I mean, yeah, maybe we're hanging on to this one. Maybe we hang on for dear life here. Right now, playing out of this price action, this is going to be whether this just clears it again, calls it, or from here we work our way down. So let's see. S&P chilling, NQ, and Dow. This may be now where everything gets on the same path. And just like that, we see NQ start to push downwards. So we're back in profit. For me, the move to the upside was about 55 points. So I'd be curious to see if we see this drop some more into this imbalance. But right now, we definitely saw a significant move. Significant drop here with NASDAQ. Dow still holding its structure. So right now, I've made no adjustment on a stop. I mean, it's kind of pointless at this point. And yeah, just going to see how this moves on. So we're in profit now, just barely. And now that we've cleared this high again, the New York Open, we're kind of green lighted. So once the market goes into this imbalance, if it goes, right, it can't be assuming. If it goes into this imbalance and you want to tighten up your stop a bit, I think that's fine once we get this move, because this is a sign that money's coming in. Even now, like this to me is a sign that smart money is coming in and is driving price down. We're starting to see Dow also push down. So I want to see if we continue to move to the downside here. So let's see if Dow clears this imbalance. See what that looks like. Dow just kind of giving better structure overall. So honestly, what we could have done, which could have been a decent, and it would have been very quick to adapt, but we could have actually taken break even and then just switched over to trading Dow instead of trading NQ. So that could have been a better option here. NQ still holding on, still trading over here, still unknowingly bullish, where Dow is continuing to work its way down. So in reality, definitely the indice at the moment that is more bearish and the one that still gave that shakeout play was Dow Jones. So look at how Dow right now, bless you, is dropping. It looks like it's about to kind of clear this, maybe get into this imbalance over here. Yeah, see that? We're starting to drop. Starting to see the market move. And at the same time, NQ just chilling here. Being very annoying. So when I see price action like this, and it's not moving at the same pace, it kind of gives me the idea to actually exit my trade, because clearly we're not in the naturally bearish indice. Like it's obvious. Dow is just naturally pushing down more right now. The only time that this can get a little tricky is when they move in opposite directions. So if Dow goes up and NQ goes down, all of a sudden now it's all confusing, right? So I want to see, as Dow works its way and kind of fills this imbalance from New York Open, what does that do to NQ? Does NQ also drop as well? Does it keep going higher? Does it do anything? So look, this is now working its way down and down and down. NQ is doing nothing. It's like no signs that it wants to push to the downside. So at this point, when we see things like this, it clearly today, we just made the wrong choice. Now, what I want to know is, I think right now we're about to be stopped unless Dow going up brings Nas down, and this is the kind of trading that is happening today, which it kind of looks like it might be. But I'm personally, if we get a chance to get around entry levels, I'm personally going to take my NASDAQ trade out because I just don't like the price action that we're seeing. And with the market coming into this imbalance, we could easily see it then bounce again. So like this, right? Right now we're kind of in this imbalance fill. And honestly, I mean, it has a lot of liquidity, so maybe it wants to play and clear all this too. It might. The news event right now, because we have news in about 4 minutes. So I think I'd rather just kind of reevaluate this trade overall, indices trading, and see if we can be positioned much better than just continue to force more and more movement. Like look at Dow right now pushing down and NQ barely just budging. It's like barely doing anything. So let's see. Let's see if Dow is going to keep pushing further down. Maybe it clears this liquidity, puts us back at entry. And even then, you don't even have to be back at entry if you'd prefer to just kind of take a small reduced loss. Because look at how much Dow has dropped versus NASDAQ. Just chilling up here. So it's been pathetic. The way I think about it is, what's the likelihood that, for example, Dow decides to reverse out of here, right? Maybe Dow wants to start going up. So you can choose to take a reduced loss instead of that, or just take your loss overall. So, yeah, NQ stops that's minus 2R for me, at least on the day. We had the setup, except that basically what I saw was initially we saw NQ clear these highs. Filled. See right there, right? We saw NQ clear it, drop. So when it made this drop here, and the market came back around to here, my thought process was, okay, this swept liquidity. Perfect. This is now luring in break and retest buyers. And so we had the initial reversal, and we got some decent reversals here. And so once this was happening, what we could have noticed, though, was here's where everything kind of flipped on its head, though. So right now, when the markets are moving in the same direction, these are easier plays. But right now, they're flipped. We're seeing Dow bearish, NQ bullish. That doesn't happen all of the time. It's actually pretty rare. So when we zoom out here, originally, what did we see in the first place? Originally, we saw the way I'm perceiving this is Dow needed to clear New York session highs. Now it confirmed its direction. We have a news event in about a minute. So now the question becomes, is it around round 3? So the market here in a minute or so should be seeing some sort of momentum. So whether it's going to crash down, come crashing down, take care of all of this, or we get another attempt at the shakeout and then finally see it play out. So for me, right, I'm minus 2R on the day. Now, I don't trade because, I got to make it back. It doesn't matter if the RRs even out today, if it evens out tomorrow. For me, it's kind of irrelevant. It's just for it to even out, period. So I still will take another position as long as it's a position based off of the right principles. That's what matters to me. So, for example, here, we're seeing Dow, right, spike up. Okay. Is this going to be a setup again? That makes sense. It's spiking up right now. All right, we're working our way through here. What do we see? NQ still pushing higher into higher time frame imbalances. Dow starting to push up a little bit here as well. Big, here's that first candle, that news event right into there. I would want it to come into this traffic to take any shorts, like right over here, to take shorts on Dow. Here we have the break retest traders right now. I think this could lure in a bit more buyers before the short. And now we can see after everything that Dow is definitely more of the bear after taking a couple shots at this. So for me, yeah, I would much rather take a play here, look at Dow shorts, unless the move, that little spike up that we got was it. But, don't know that for sure yet. So let's see. So right around 42,370-ish is where I'd look for shorts. Right around here. Even maybe like 368. Yeah. So I'm not afraid to take positions just because there was losses prior in the day, as long as we're consciously in awareness that the market, like that, we're not making emotional decisions. That's kind of my rule of thumb here. Here we go. All right, so I'm going to set this up for me, 360, what did I say? Like 368. So limits on Dow. All right, so we'll see. Right now, we got one nice wick here with this first layer of, news event hits, pumped up a little bit, dropped. I think we could still go a little bit higher. If it doesn't and it just melts away, then whatever. Like I'm not going to chase this or anything. But I think we can play out of this kind of like, you can kind of see this order block, this bullish block right there. This lured in some buyers as well. So right there, I think you can see the short. And then my stops are above these highs as well. So let's see. Let's see, guys. Let's see. Now, my question for you, maybe you took one, maybe you took both of the setups. How are you feeling psychologically, emotionally? Are you annoyed that you've lost once or twice? Maybe you didn't trade with me anyways. Maybe you took buys. And so maybe you're like, yeah, I'm a fucking G. But the big thing is to go back and remember, okay, what is my net RR perspective, right? What is my expectancy? If I'm expected to lose, let's say 5 out of 10 trades, then cool. I took 2 of the 5 that I was expected to lose anyways. Or 2, let's say out of 10 trades, I might lose 4 or 5, and then I might win 4 or 5 and a couple break evens. But the risk reward obviously makes it so that that's fine. So you got to kind of lean back on those experiences, because otherwise you're just kind of focused on the wrong things. You like, the brain is so easy to just remember the most recent thing, and the brain also, what it wants to do, it wants to, as soon as it has any sense of fear or of some sort of danger, whether it's financial, whether it's your ego, your pride, it wants to run away. It's a fight or flight. So some people, they want to fight, and so they will start to just, over leverage. They'll start to trade bigger sizes. They'll start to just take trades that aren't really there. Or the other side is which is the flight, where it's you want to hide. You want to hide from the market. You want to go, oh no, there's no way, I'm done for the day. Why? Oh, because you lost in a trade, in trading, where you're losing is part of it. That's interesting. But one of the key factors is just to remember, why is this loss triggering an insecurity? Or why is this loss triggering an emotional response? Am I trading too heavy? Are my expectations very short term? Just a couple of things to consider. So you guys see right now we're kind of just trading within the zone. I haven't decided randomly, let me just get in here now. That's not for me. If this thing just leaves, that's fine. That's very much okay with me, because my setup there's no setup that has me entering way down here with the stop way over here. That doesn't really make sense for my system here. Meanwhile, we're seeing NASDAQ continue to push on up, which is good, because when we go to the 1 hour, what are we seeing? NASDAQ now has confirmed a pretty good bullish structure. So at some point, I think we'll see a buy down here. And now NASDAQ's also getting into this zone over here, where, look, now it's starting to kind of trade into these zones. We have some imbalances over here. So there's kind of a reason. There's more motive for NAS to maybe reverse. And maybe this is why Dow isn't going to go up where I think it could. And it does just drop. Because now that NASDAQ is in these levels, that might have been it. That might have just been enough. And now everything, higher time frames are in the right place. Lower time frames are in the right place. And maybe this move up to here was it. And we're not going to get the move up into, kind of like this whole range over here. And we're starting to see, look at this. Now Dow is pushing to clear some of this liquidity, and that's fine. Could we still get this trade? I think so. And out of curiosity, did anyone short this already? Did anyone take this in here? Maybe you saw it after the news event, and you saw it in here, and you went, okay, you know what? I'm cool. I'm cool with the short right here, and I'd rather just be involved early on. So, nice. Okay, so this is going. The big picture thing that I'm seeing too is we had a big sweep and the drop. So this kind of turns into this could become a mitigation setup as well. So let's see what happens. Right now we're seeing the liquidity sweep. Dow is naturally more bearish, as we've seen here. The initial move here, this would have been that shakeout play, but I decided to go with NQ because of how it was dropping initially. So yeah, we'll kind of see. Right now, we see this first wave of liquidity get taken out. This takes out this kind of London, New York overlap lows. It also takes out. We had already gotten below New York Open, so that's kind of just the natural progression of liquidity here for this session. We still have London session lows over here, so this is still a target at some point in time. And then, as you all can see, NQ pushed down, quickly lost that momentum, and we're seeing it kind of progress back up into this range. I think we might pull up higher into this zone. It's a possibility here. We'll see. Some liquidity here set up. And so what are we seeing now, right? We're seeing the market clear the lows with Dow running with momentum. Hold on, there we go. Dow still pushing a bit more to the downside. There's liquidity here, so this looks like it can still go lower as well. So at some point, I feel like we'll get past all this. Got some imbalance over there. In the meantime, let's see what S&P is doing. S&P has been a little bit more kind of ranging, right? Back and forth. It's spiking up, spiking down. It's pretty sideways. Bless you. So really interesting to see how this one's unfolding. Fun fact on the day for you guys, if you want to know. Let's see. Let me do the math here. I think this will be fun for everybody. Let's see. 10, 4,400, 8,000. I am down nearly 10K on the day. Fun fact. So here's the thing. If you look at just numbers, would that worry you? Would you be concerned? But if you look at total capital, RR, I'm only down 2R. Based on my risk. So then, is that something to be concerned about? Not really. So my thing with all of you guys is, yeah, I haven't gone over yet. I can look over. I haven't even focused on anything outside of indices. Just pretty locked in. Gold trades moving pretty nice. So yeah, let's go take a look at. Let's go take a look at that. Let me set some alerts here. So if we do get above here and we trade into this zone, I'm down for this one. But let's see, yen futures. Okay, 6J. Hey, over here. There we go. Our yen trades from last week played out pretty decent. Anyone take these? I had lost track of this one. It came into our zone and then didn't quite make the move and then came back in. So, yeah, this is a good setup. I think my alert went off for the initial one, but not when it came back in. But this came in exactly to the actual entry. I just didn't have a limit set. So this looked nice. I think it was with GSD JPY where I had it marked up. Yeah, there we go. Right here. Very nice. But you're asking about yen. What are you looking at here? So I can see a couple things. We have the big move over here. But then I think right now, maybe you're looking at the 15. Maybe this is what you're looking at. So a push to the upside here. And then you see it drop, make lower lows for London, New York, just for a day, basically. And then now the market's coming back into this. Trading within this range, I don't like to trade within ranges like this, like with this move right here. Not my favorite. So I think I would stay out of trading inside of this and just kind of focus on the extremes of this 1 hour zone. That would be my approach with this. So if I were to go and just look at 6J, so the yen futures, and we're seeing, right, because I mean, I see what you see. Don't get me wrong. I totally see it. But there's a couple things, right? You have this one right here. So you have the big sweep. And then we have this one right here. So pushes down. This kind of gets right into the low. So I don't love this. I'm going to kind of stay clear of trading within the hourly range. So I'm going to chill out. I'm not going to look to trade that. Is that what you were looking at, or were you looking at the on the outside? Está en compras en euro dólar. Nice. Very nice, very nice. Let's see, Euro USD. Let's look at some majors here. All right, so I haven't traded Euro at all. We've been marking it up and kind of seeing the difference. Alfredo, ¿compraste qué? ¿Con esta caída aquí? Por acá. Okay. En lo personal, so I wanted to short over here. I wanted to sell, and then it kind of missed and just left liquidity. So I'm curious if we get back over here. Had a huge move up, lost that momentum, came back up again, created this liquidity zone. So we have New York session liquidity here for odd USD. This move with odd was during Asian session. So a lot of times you'll see the mitigation during kind of the same session. So maybe in the future. Got liquidity over there still. NZD also working its way down. Would be curious to see what price action looks like between NZD and Australian. So keep my eye out on here. That smells amazing. Whatever you're doing over there. GU. Got some, what is this, coffee or tea? Oh my God, this coffee is amazing. Coffee hitting different. So if you look at dollar and overall movement, obviously we saw dollar strength pick up, causing quite the move. Not really trading too much here with these dollar pairs. I'm kind of chilling. The setup was USD, for sure, was USD JPY. Wow, USD CHF did a huge move here. I'll come back to this, though. Looks like we're seeing Dow pick up a bit. And Dow now is moving interesting because we have the sweep of liquidity, which took out some of the session. You know, some of like London session, not all of it. There's definitely a lot more over here and the lows over there. We see New York session, New York open, you know, create the highs, clear out some of yesterday's New York highs as well. We're seeing NASDAQ continue to work its way, continue to push at a stronger pace than we're seeing Dow do so. Dow wasn't as extremely convincing with making the lower low. We saw the sweep of the high, the sweep of the low. So for this to be a high conviction sell, I would have preferred for us to get lower lows, have demand over here, and then be able to short this with more of let's say just more structure, more demand in general. What's on in our favor, I guess, is that NQ is just ripping at way stronger levels, and then on top of that, we have already cleared above yesterday's New York highs. So is this an A+ setup for a mitigation trade? No. We would have wanted to see the demand here hold up better. Is divergence on our side for a short like this? Yes. So is this A+? Not really. And so taking a position here, I say you're carrying on. You reduced your probability of success a bit. Now on the plus side, you still have London session lows and yesterday's liquidity still over here. So the risk reward factor is very good. So this kind of setup here is one where maybe you can approach with maybe less risk. Right now, we just got back to kind of like this sideways movement over here. I think we go a bit higher, though. So I do think we make our way up to this imbalance into this range, 42, 365, 70, like just up into this zone over here. But let's see. Let me see chat. What's good, chat? One of the big things too is, and for you guys, I want to know, have you gotten better at losing? Like, are you able to now lose more effectively, keep a neutrality mindset when you do take losses? I think that is the single, if we were to choose one thing that can give a trader the absolute edge, it's that. It's the trader that learns how to lose is the trader that wins long term. The trader that can lose in the moment best is the trader that will win forever. Because you actually, it's not even like you don't even learn how to survive. You learn how to endure. Yes, my journal gives me confidence. Prior to documentation, I would only feel like my last trade. Perfect, man. Perfect. So, okay. Looks like we're getting closer here to the zone that I was interested. This little order block here. All right. So as that kind of does its thing, what I want to see, USD CHF came up to here. Let me look at futures here. A little futures chart. Okay, here we go. Okay. So in futures, we see it work its way down. The structure looks a bit better because we see a huge sell-off. The market pushes, and then we trade above the high. Honestly, we actually trade up here for a bit. So for a full, let's say like a full day, give or take, and then we work our way down. So looking at a setup like this, we have liquidity here. Market works its way into this zone. I kind of get it. A borderline. I mean, it's trading better. This I could see some imbalance. If we look at, let's say, the 4 hour here. Here's where I'd start to judge this, because now when we zoom out, This kind of just looks like it builds up more liquidity for sells. And at some point, it could get up into this range. And we have imbalance. This is okay. Big sell-off, so I do think there's room for reversals. I would have preferred to see a stronger higher high here on the 4-hour, but we do get above this here. So you see lower highs, lower lows, and then we trade above here pretty well. So can we wick into this and rally? Yes. What? Okay. So I'm being told that the stream has dropped. I'm being told that I have liars in the building. Okay. Did stream freeze? Are we back yet? Bzz. Rip. Just kidding. You're not a liar. I love you. It did, but it's back. Okay. Well, all good. Let's see. Red card. What's going on over here? Man. All right, guys, if you have gotten value, remember, if you want to get more value, if you want to go and have our Smart Money Playbook, access to like 10 years worth of trainings, then make sure you're joining the free community. It's in there. Right there. If you want to learn how to lose 10K in a day, then and you want to work hands-on on how to get wrecked, then go. Mine went to Skechers commercial. What, really? You shouldn't have any. There should be no commercials, no ads. Oh, wait, you know what? Actually, I don't know. At least not from me. If you guys want to have hands-on guidance on how to lose 5 figures in a day, then I'm your guy. So feel free to join us in the syndicate here and click this link so that you can apply to qualify to get wrecked. All right. All jokes aside. Cool. So now we're in the zone. And let's see. That's insane. This is inverse marketing. Let's see. All right. Wow. This account didn't get triggered in by spread. Am I too accurate? I'm going to be pissed. Imagine it just melts from here. Could be. Just might be. There's a chance that that's what's about to happen here. I see. Well, okay, I'm in on my Apex accounts. Well, so that's okay. All right. Let's see. Getting a decent drop. Not bad. Not bad. Okay. So I understand also like the hesitation to take a position on this setup in particular because of the lack of lower lows here. So if mitigation model is your entry, this would not classify as the trade. It's not a 10 out of 10 because it's more of a liquidity run than it is confirming a bearish structure. Okay. So if you're looking for a textbook mitigation model, this one right now, because of how, I would say little, right? How lightly it rejected here. It was just not enough. So is there liquidity over here? For sure.
Does that necessarily mean that it needs to be targeted right now? Not quite. Now, the only point of advantage here is the fact that NQ here has already gone deeply into the imbalance, and this is now kind of rejecting this zone. So trade your game, all right, guys. With this type of setup, I would argue that had we initially seen a move here, right? So yes, we have order block, whatever. But had we gotten the lower low and seen demand, then this would have been a more qualified setup. But because we only see it drop this way and then instantly come back, not the most qualified position. That's why I said this is not an A+ setup by any means. And don't feel like you need to take this at all. All right. I give you guys some examples, but don't only take the trades that fit the exact setup that belongs to you. Don't make any trades to make anything back. Don't take trades because, you're like, oh man, I gotta feel something today, and especially if you're like, oh, I have daily targets. That's going to be the end of you. Trust me. Going for those daily targets, trying to make some sort of random quota that you just invented for yourself is not the move. All right? That's not the move. So, that's just my few cents here. So, I think we have better trades than this one. Could this play out? Maybe. But I don't think this is a necessity, right? I don't think you need to take this trade because especially if you're a mitigation model. And the mitigation model looks a little bit like this, right? A mitigation trade is where we have liquidity in the first sell. Liquidity builds up. This is just a very typical model. Sweeps liquidity. And then you do get a lower low. However, the highest probability one is where it stays down here and we see demand at these levels. Otherwise, then when we get the pullback, we can take the sell. In our example here, we kind of struggle to get that. So we do get a drop, yeah, but we don't get this, right? We don't get the demand. So this loses some of its probability for success because of how little demand we have. We can tell that the drop here, the incentive behind the drop was more towards liquidity rather than a confirmation of direction. Whereas NQ here looks like it's kind of fulfilled its higher time frame duties, which was rebalancing and potentially mitigating over here. So that's kind of what is helping the possibility of just overall indices starting to work their way down. Yeah, that kind of gives this a little extra boost. So if I were to give this trade a rating out of 10, I'd say it's about a 7. Normally, if we didn't have NQ already do all of this stuff, then I would say like it's not even worth even considering. But because we do have extra higher time frame confirmations, there's a shot that this goes all right. Okay. Someone asked me about crypto, so let's look at some crypto stuff. All right, so it's here. Oh, actually, you guys, someone asked me about oil too, so I'll take a look at oil. Oil, real quick. So with oil, what was your question with oil? I think was it PJ? What are your thoughts here? So we see oil take honestly, a good liquidity sweep. It raids a lot of the lows for a couple weeks worth of May, and then pulls back down to this low right there. So still kind of looks like consolidation and sideways movement to me. Not my favorite. Not my favorite. And then it's pulling back up into this wick that it made from Monday. So we can kind of dive into that. So a little bit of a push up, drops. Definitely not a lot of demand down here either. So I think maybe if you're asking, it's about kind of what happened here with this push up. Looks like we already see a bit of a rejection right there. So decent mitigation. I wouldn't necessarily shoot for anything in here. It's a lot of sideways movement. I'm cool on anything oil related. Looks like we're having instant ramen today. Loses 10K with no stress, LOL. It'd be like that. To what you said about being better at losing trades, I think I'm just getting numb. Okay, getting numb isn't necessarily what you want either. All right. Oh, natural gas short was crazy here. Sheesh. What's this here? Contract expired. RIP. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong. Here we go. Okay. So, update with Dow. We're getting a pretty strong rejection here. So, pretty good movement to the downside. We could say that looks like this order block we've seen an exchange of money. We've seen this drop about 50 points or so. So, that's usually a good sign. So here we see that flip. You've seen this drop about 48, 49 points. So, but you can clearly see the difference in how money comes in. See it go about, 50 points and some. You saw it here just reject just about that amount as well. So you're seeing kind of the exchange of money happen right there. This instantly, though, worked its way back up. So this is curious because I was just going to mention how everyone feels about adjusting their stop. So look at how NQ here has kind of been naturally more bearish at this time. So now we started to see the market move here the last 7 minutes or so. It's been dropping pretty nicely. So I'm going to have an alert here on NQ. I'm curious to see if we work our way down to here again. And then what is enough for adjustments of stops, etc. Because this is a pretty good reaction. So if you were just plainly trading, let's say, for example, wait, what? Oh, it wasn't that big of a move. It was this big of a move. Okay. So, yeah, this definitely rejected. So we see the exchange from buyers to sellers right there. So even in this example, this could have been okay, let me just move my stop to my entry. If you were playing just out of here. Now, obviously, you have the big move here, this last rip to the upside. Then you would expect the market to drop more if you're going to see an exchange from buyers here to sellers here. The expectation would be for this to mitigate with a bit more tenacity there. So it just depends on what exactly it is that you're trading here. So in this example, I do think that we can see the exchange from buyers to sellers. The fact that we don't see a lot of demand here is what lowered this. The divergence is what then brought it a little higher. And so here's an interesting thing that I do. When I still like a setup, but I don't love a setup, what I'll do is I'll knock off risk. So let's say, for example, if it's so this is just something that I've done over time, But let's say it's a, where is this thing here? We'll go bigger here. Let's say it's a, you know, like let's say this will be easier, 10 out of 10 setup. This equals, you know, 1R, 1 risk. And then if I have a 5 out of 10 setup, then we have no risk involved, right? So 0R. So no trade. No trade. But let's say today, you know, I had, I'd say 7 out of 10 setup. Then what I'll do with setups like this is I'll just reduce my risk. So instead of normal, I'll do less risk. Because it's like, all right, I think we can still see this play out. The probability for something like this is still good enough with the right risk reward, right? And the probabilities of the risk reward. So I'll do something like that. Because at the end of the day, it's about probabilities. So I would have to also know then it's like, well, with the 7 out of 10 setup, what are the conditions? In a trade like this, the reward potential is kind of unique, right? So like the reward potential here was trading, let's say like right there. You have your stop here, for example. And then what's the RR? So if the RR is going to be a 4R, for example, here, half R at 4R would still give me 2R, which is fantastic. And then at a 4RR, what does my win rate need to be just even break even? Right, like 20%. So out of 5 trades, you win 1 and you lose 4, then you're still break even. A 7 out of 10 setup for me will give me a win rate well above 20%. So I'll take that, but only if the risk reward makes sense. Clearing London session lows is something that I think is a probable setup for today's market environment. So that's just to give you guys some extra perspective on how I go about thinking with trades and making decisions overall. You know, dog is doing things right now. Look at this. Look at our favorite meme coin. Okay. Let's see. Out of that kind of leaves us at I think that's kind of it for today. I think we'll kind of wrap up there. Have you guys, you know, do your due diligence. Don't force anything, guys. Right now, the one thing that for sure I would do if we kind of see this drop more, when we get into this zone, let's say it does go our way, then I would definitely make sure you know stops get adjusted and tightened up, whether break even or reduce risk, because you might get a bounce here. Right? You could get a decent bounce, let's say like right there, somewhere in here. And then maybe it keeps going lower. So something like that I think could be a possibility because you already have a nice sell-off right there. So, and that's even if it does drop. This might not drop. But cool. So yeah, good stuff, guys. Good session. Obviously, today was not a winner. At least not yet. And then someone asked about Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance here. BTC.D. So we're seeing some substantial dropping in Bitcoin dominance throughout. Whoa, my bad. What's going on with this thing? All right, here we go. So we're seeing some Bitcoin dominance here, and we saw the market get to some key zones from the weekly level. So we're kind of waiting for the market to get to here at some point. So I think it could still go a little bit higher anyways, to be honest. Like we still could keep pushing. But if we're looking at like the 1 hour, the 15, blah, 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 it's doing a pretty good job. So price action, not this isn't price, but like the psychology of Bitcoin dominance has not gone below again. So maybe we see a rise in Bitcoin dominance and then see another reversal from here. What I would love to see for Bitcoin dominance for us to really get this like bearish, this altcoin season kind of vibe, I would like for it to break the low from the 29th. So if we can get down to here and work our way all the way over to here, this is kind of the vibe that would give me like, oh, okay, yeah, we're going to be entering an altcoin season soon. So I want to see us get below this 63.45%, and then we see something like this. So this extra confirmation below, if we can get something like this, ooh, that would be clutch. And then, take this thing down. But overall, I'm still like relatively bullish with crypto. I'm missing a letter here. There we go. Okay. So, I mean, yeah, look at this, dude. Epic. Epic setups so far. Cool. All right, guys. Have a great rest of your day. Journal your trades. Trade smart. Trade diligently. And, live to trade for another day. Don't feel like you got to do it all today. Don't feel like you got to make it all back today. Today is really irrelevant. You're not here to live for today, right? You're here to build a long-lasting journey as a trader. All right, guys. Much love. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.